Well, hey there. I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of How to Paint Like a Feminist. I'm your host, John Ross, and if this is your first time joining us, I'd cordially like to invite you to bite the pillow because this Biden economy is going in dry. Let's get started. And before we get started, I'm going to have my handy-dandy producer run those colors across the bottom of your screen there. We're going to start off with You're Not Black Enough Black. That's right, we are going to go there on this one. And then we've got Hamas green. And then we have Yellow Belly De Niro, which, again, we could have substituted a blue for the tears, but we figured Yellow Belly was very fitting. And then last, but most certainly not least, we've got Felon Aquamarine Green. Yeah, it's going to get weird. And as per the norm, we've covered this canvas in a nice base coat of liquid white privilege, but ensure that it's applied according to DEI standards. Because if it was Boeing standards, weird. As you can see, we've had to upright our easel one more time in a mostly peaceful display of comedic relief. I made another funny. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put a nice thick coat of this Felon Aquamarine Green, because quite honestly, we're gonna be using a lot of this in this episode. So we're gonna go ahead and use our 2-inch phallic brush. Eric Swalwell wouldn't really know what that means because, you know, when you're banging Chinese fang spies, I think everything else is kind of small in comparison. You get what I'm going at there, don't you? Don't act like you don't know. All right, so speaking of Felon Aquamarine Green, you've got Joe Biden out there weaponizing the DOJ and going after Donald Trump and accusing him of all these felonious charges. Matter of fact, 34 counts. That's interesting. And so they're sitting there trying to weaponize lawfare to keep Trump off the campaign trail. Then within 48 hours, that sucker just comes out and raises over $200 million. Man, Trump's creating jobs even after being convicted as a felon. You gotta love it. And of course, when you got DNC prosecution and their ranks consist of a crackhead, a porn star, and a bunch of lying lawyers, well, what's the punchline? Well, they are the punchline. You couldn't make this up on a Kardashian reality TV show. I still wouldn't even watch that, but still, it'd be entertaining. So before we get into adding our next color, which is You Ain't Black Enough Black, and talking about Sean P. Diddler Combs, we're gonna go ahead and beat the smack out of our brush here. Just reach back and pop the heck out, maybe even throw a vase at it or something like that, because, you know. So we're gonna go ahead and start adding this You Ain't Black Enough Black. And speaking of that, I keep wondering when Mark Cuban's gonna go out there and, push for more diversity into his NBA team like he claims he wants on Twitter. Yet for some reason it seems to be a completely black-dominated team. I wonder why that is. Not a lot of diversity there, Mark. Certainly don't see a lot of Asians on that team. Of course, you don't really see a lot of white people either, but I guess that's one place that you don't see a lot of people calling for inclusivity. As long as you're making that money off of black people primarily, well then suddenly the whole equality thing just goes on out the window. Kind of like that vase that the Pete Diddler threw at that one lady. Black on black violence. Weird again. Just like to go ahead and take a moment and wish a very happy congratulations to 4 years sober George Floyd. Way to go. I knew you could do it. It's kind of weird to me how Democrats say they don't want to support a felon, yet here they are hoisting up and making a martyr out of a felon. Yeah. And then, of course, you got all these DEI programs just biting the dust, because come to find out, I think there was a famous guy that talked about that, people shouldn't be judged based upon the color of their skin, but the content of their character, and suddenly you start applying that kind of perspective, and all the minorities get mad. Weird again. As far as respecting what certain cultures have created, you see how they're trying to remake Shakespeare, and Juliet is now a woman, a black woman, and everybody seems to have kind of this uproar about the fact that she's black, and I kind of feel like people are just missing the mark. It's the fact that she's ugly and would probably turn Romeo gay. Just gonna throw that out there. Just being honest. She's no Tyra Banks. Yeah, not even a little bit. Is that racist? The next color we're gonna go ahead and start with is Robert De Niro Yellow. and put a big, big streak of that yellow all over this canvas because, my God, for a guy that plays all these mobsters in the movies, I have never seen somebody cry as much outside of Kathy Griffin. Good Lord, that guy's like, this is the end of democracy and justice is blind and yada, yada, yada. And he pulls up those two police officers and I swear to God, it was like something out of watching Ricky Lake. That dude was about to start bawling. Mr. Tattooed Up Buff dude just, it was a bad day. Man, I swear to God. It's like the soy that you Democrats drink, it's turning everybody gay. Maybe Alex Jones was right. It wasn't just the frogs, it's the libs. You're all gay. I think that's true. As a matter of fact, now that I'm thinking about it, didn't Bill Clinton pay off somebody? Or rather, a lot of somebodies? Whatever happened to those deleted emails or the Haiti slush fund and all those things that, well, suddenly Democrats just really don't care that much about as long as it involves their people. We're willing to forgive that though, right? Yeah, sure. Say, off the top of my head too, didn't Hillary Clinton pay a fine for something involving campaign finance laws? And you know, the FBI's out there doing their FBI thing, and it just kind of seems to me that all the stuff these Democrats are accusing the Republicans of doing, they've been doing themselves for quite a long time. Kind of like that whole, when you let out a little tooty toot in church and the guilty wolf always howls. Better to just look down at your songbook and just keep on singing to the Lord. And then of course, right before we've got election season, we got Hunter Biden's stripper baby mama out there about to release her new book talking about how she basically wanted to fix Hunter Biden. Yeah, fix his wallet. Now you got him for 18 years. 18 years and probably a bare minimum with that, case of herpes. I mean, it's Hunter Biden. You don't know where that thing's been. Actually, that's incorrect. We kind of do know where it's been. We've seen the videos leaked from his cell phone. Yeah. Dude loves him some prostitutes. Move over, Kennedys. And Clintons. And Trumps. I feel like I could keep going with this. This seems to be a recurring thing in politics. Yeah, they just into prostitutes. What is this? And of course, you got Joe Biden out there saying that he wants to, take more of your taxpayer money, send it to Israel, send it to Gaza. Oh, did I mention he also wants to help rebuild Gaza? Yeah, rebuild Gaza. He said he wants to rebuild the schools and the hospitals that were destroyed in this war. And my question is, would these be the same hospitals that Hamas had headquarters underneath and the same places where they held hostages before they executed them, those places you want to rebuild? Oh, that's right, because I forgot it's a genocide. As reported by Hamas, of course, we've never seen Muslim extremists lie. Never. They would never do that. So last but most certainly not least, we're going to start mixing up some of this Hamas green. And speaking of Hamas green, as you know, it's June, therefore it means it's butt month. So I would highly encourage those that are in favor of Palestine and Gaza and the rest of them that are of the homosexual nature to hop the next thing smoking and go on over there and participate. But I did read somewhere where Gaza said they are going to cancel LGBT month this month because of a lack of tall buildings. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? What does that mean? It's kind of funny how you have these people trying to toe the line and not actively commit into believing in Islamophobia. And meanwhile, you get a knife attack over there in Germany where an Afghani immigrant comes over there and starts stabbing people that were protesting against Islam in the face, to include police officers. Such a tolerant religion of love and peace and understanding. So long as you're not gay, black, Christian, Jew, woman, essentially everyone that's not a Middle Eastern male. So, yeah, have fun with that. And of course, you've got Joe Biden's Hamas peer that ran America roughly $320 million. And what happened to that thing? That's right. Helen Keller herself could have built a better pier than that because that sucker pulled the Titanic and whew, straight down. $320 million. And guess what? That's your money. So not only do we get to pay for failed piers in Gaza, we get to pay for roughly 5 million Americans to have their student loan forgiven. You get to pay to help rebuild Gaza. We get to send money to Israel and Ukraine and, well, pretty much everywhere except here in America. Meanwhile, we got an open southern border, fentanyl's pouring across, and of course our politicians just want to start banning hemp-related things such as Delta 8 and Delta 9. Shout out to ShellShockCBD.com, by the way, check them out. But yeah, that's what's really important. But forget the opioid epidemic. Let's forget about the secondary and tertiary effects of these addictive property pharmaceutical companies are giving out to the people, especially our veterans, and turning them into walking zombies. But yes, Delta 8, the things that makes me want to just, I don't know, munch you down and watch some Big Bang Theory reruns, that's the real threat. Or maybe it's because the government is still in bed with Big Pharma and Big Weed has turned into Big Pharma. But let's leave it to the boomer politicians out there to regulate and tell you what you can put in your body and whatnot as they go home and crack open a six-pack, or half of them are obese. But yeah, it's Delta 8, it's weed, that's the problem. So of course we have a little road here. It's going in a very interesting direction to where you have Pride Parade people clashing with Palestinian protesters at the same time, and you just don't know like what you're supposed to do there. Do you support the butt stuff, or do you support the anti-LGBT people that the LGBT people are they themselves supporting? You just have to love it and watch in pure enjoyment as they eat each other. Bravo, bravo. All right, so last, we're gonna use our secret ingredient. I like to call it common sense. Poor little guy. Rip Cricket. Hey there. Don't forget to look us up at the All American Savage Show podcast, wherever podcasts are downloaded, and make sure you also follow me on Twitch at John Burke Official. If you'd like to enter to win this painting, we're doing a raffle, so go check it out at the link below in the comments. We appreciate you. Thanks for all the support.